Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Studio Rumble game tonight. This is going to be the second and final one for this evening, where we're going to have BANANG versus All Characters Matter. Studio Rumble. We're playing Overwatch this season. We're in the fourth week of it. Great organization run by a bunch of volunteers trying to bring some camaraderie between everybody in the gaming industry. And that's just what we're trying to do tonight. Tonight we've got two teams coming to us from a couple of different gaming studios. We've got BANANG coming from Telltale Games, and then All Characters Matter coming at us from Harmonix Music Systems. So both of these teams, they're full of players who are looking to have some fun, get to know each other, compare themselves as they battle it out this week in Hollywood. So Hollywood, fun little map. It's a hybrid kind of thing where you've got the attack point as well as a payload. Oh, also one thing to note, both of these teams are in the dirty casual division, which means we are all here for fun, games, laughter, enjoyment, mayhem, and slaughter. You know, the usuals. So we've seen a number of different strategies work out on Hollywood. We've seen some teams trying to put together some skirmishy kind of defenses, playing with a lot of soldiers, and Farah is trying to push them off that way. And then in our last game, we saw a really great defense by No Bastion by our old men, putting together, Bastion, Torbjorn, and Symmetra, three powerhouses when it comes to those static defenses, able to hold that one out. So in this one, looks like we're going to have All Characters Matter are going to be defending for this first round, and BANANG going to be trying to push in, see if they can capture that point, push onto all three, get that win. Since this is a asymmetric attack defense, both teams are going to get their own shot at taking the final point. Whoever can attack faster, or whoever can defend more, will take the victory here. So right now we're still waiting for a couple more people to load into the lobby before we get into game. So until then, we've got some things that we could potentially theorycraft about. We have that first point. A lot of these fights tend to happen around that gate being a pretty well-defined line of scrimmage. I really like it from just a design perspective because you have a lot of different sight lines, a lot of different ways to break sight lines. And since it is, a fairly good walk for both teams, if one team gets pretty well taken out, has to disengage, it's going to take a while for the loser to come up in. So if the offense can ever bust through, take down 4 for 2, they can start pushing, start getting some ground in there. There's that health pack off to the left. If they can really push in, there's the smaller one off inside the building. But, once you can get that foothold, then you can start pushing them out. And then once you get the wipe, you can sit up onto the point. And then there's only 2 points in from the other side. Both small little gates coming in. And if you can get those covered, capture the point. Farah, of course, can cheat, go over gates, go over walls. It's one of the things that's really fun about her. And one of the things that I really like as well, just from a holistic design perspective in this game, is the sheer amount of interesting mobility that we have. Is you have all of these different characters with all of these different ways to move around the map. And as a shot caller or as a player in this game, that's something you have to be thinking about. It's like, hey, is Farah going to be coming over the wall and attacking us? Is, Widowmaker jumping up into a really high point, vantage point? It's just one of those things you have to be aware of. We're working in 3D space. So we will see. So, still waiting for a little bit. One more person It's unfortunate people can't be on time. They say the match is going to be at 7 p.m. PST, but nope. Not everybody makes it. It's a shame. Oh well. Shame. So other things that we've seen a fair bit about is Farah. Talked about her a little bit earlier. She tends to be one of the staples that we see in a lot of these compositions. If anyone remembers the TF2 days, it's Farah's solid iteration on the soldier, and it really fits into that same play space, and that's the same reason why we see her a lot, is the rockets having that splash damage, having that ability to do a high amount of damage from the air really provides a lot of threat, especially against teams that want to be grouped up. So stuff that involves hiding behind a Reinhardt, having a Mercy next to one of your DPS, a team with low numbers of flankers are all going to tend towards being in a similar place. And you can use those rockets from long range, lob into there, provide a fair amount of battlefield control as well, being able to knock the team around, especially if you can get a knock up into the air. Most champions don't deal well with being knocked up into the air because they don't have movement abilities to then gain control. And what that lets is the team that's knocked them up, study the parabolic arc, take aim, fire, shoot him in the face, and kill him. And so Farah works really well at that. You launch a rocket, you launch the concussive blast, and all of a sudden you got a champion in the air, easy to aim at, easy kill, easy life, easy game. And then on top of that, like in this space, one of the things that then works really well, we're talking about how she can clear points, how she can clear defenses. With her ultimate, does a ton of damage. Like you see a good Farah play onto a point that's fairly well defended, and it can just obliterate an entire team. She's just a few meters off of the ground, most of the team's close, and with that missile shotgun type effect, there's just death and justice raining from above. So that's why I think we'll pretty much almost always see Farahs in most games. She really fits well into the meta where you're trying to be fighting and skirmishing around points, but at the same time having to bust through static defenses or like really grouped up defenses or push people off a cart, push people off a point. In an objective-based game, someone who has just the raw abilities to push around that or play well with it, play well with heavily grouped up people. It's a similar reason why we see Junkrat a lot. Junkrat, slightly less utility, but still, heavy DPS, heavy amounts of AoE DPS at that, can work out really, really, really well for whichever team is running it. So another common thing that seen a lot of in these games is we see, Mercy or Lucio. Sometimes both. But both of these two being the primary healers that we'll ever see. Symmetra occasionally comes in, doesn't really have the healing, but the teleporter and shields work pretty well. But for healing, for keeping your team alive, for dealing with the poke that can come out of, team compositions that do run stuff like Farah and Soldier 76, which is particularly common. That sustained damage. You run Mercy or Lucio. And Mercy, particularly good if it's a single person getting healed. So if you're dealing with soldiers, you just have your one person behind the corner, like a Roadhog walking out to try and land a hook, heal that up, make sure he survives it, and then fall back, damage boost when you don't need to heal. She works really well for a lot of those skirmishing type fights, and especially she's really good if you ever lose fights. She has really good comeback mechanics. You can use her movement to get out of the way, bring your whole team back if they get wiped out. And on the other hand, you have Lucio. So Lucio, a lot more AoE, a lot more group type effect. His healing's hitting everybody all at once. You're not just having to focus one person at a time. But for him, because it's a lot of that AoE, because he also has that move speed that's getting everybody in the groove, moving around, he tends to be a bit more front-loaded in a lot of these engages, because while he's doing all of these things, he's shooting. So you have to be relying on that DPS that you're getting out of him, to make up for the fact that you don't have a Mercy res. You don't have the extreme amount of constant healing per second coming out of a Mercy. And then from the ultimate's perspective, Mercy works really well from coming out from the backside of a fight. If you get shot out and your team gets killed, you can bring it all up. But then with Lucio, it's all about ulting in the beginning, or as soon as that engagement starts to happen, using those massive shields to prevent the damage that's coming in to your team. So, sorry about the delays, everyone. We are still waiting for one more person to be showing up. Not sure what's going to happen if they don't, or how much longer we're going to be waiting. We have seen a 5v6 happen before, and let me tell you, that did not go well. They showed some good spirit, but in the end, the 5 does get crushed quite handily, let me tell you. That's a unpleasant experience, It's like you're trying to get a team together. Come on, guys. We can fight tonight, right? We can play. Let's all play. Let's go have some fun. And then somebody doesn't show up. Don't be that someone. Don't be the person that's, getting 5 other people to commit to a time and then end up showing up and just don't. Just don't. So I know I'm on a little bit of a delay, but if anyone who's listening to the stream has any questions they'd want to be answered, or things curious about, or things you want me to ramble about, please feel free to chime in. I'm used to having to spend 4 or 5 minutes filling up a lot of the gap as the teams are getting ready, talking about Studio Rumble, how it does a lot of cool things, talking about the various organizations we have in here, various strategies we might be seeing on the maps. But let me tell you, get to 12 minutes after and there is a lot of empty space you slowly start trying to fill. Looks like we might be having a 5v5 instead, as both of these teams trying to figure out what's going to be going on. We will see. Looks time both teams have agreed to do a 5v5 instead. Someone from the first team would have had to leave, so works out. One team has someone who can't make it on time. The other team has someone who has to leave early. Hopefully we'll still get an interesting game. 5v5 is going to change the mechanics and dynamics of this a little bit. With only 5 people, you're going to be having a lot less DPS, but at the same time, a lot less area to cover. So I think flankers will work out pretty well. Looks like just a couple more conversations coming in from people. All right, take that back. We are going to be rolling with a 5v6 as we are now entering into the game. Lopsided. On to Hollywood. So, on the offense, we have BANANG with only 5. And that is going to be Subtraction as Tracer, Collide as Zarya, Ghost Dog with Soldier 76, Jin as Widowmaker, and Maker Ropey as Lucio. On the defense, still have a couple people deciding, but we are going to have Kabana as Junkrat, Fire Shadow as Torbjorn, Chromega, Sebastian Vapathy as Lucio, Matthias as Hanzo, and Blade Song on Zarya. Really fun champion. That's a solid defensive lineup we have coming in here. So both teams opting to go with the Lucio support means when these engages are happening, the first seconds are going to be incredibly crucial for deciding how the fights are going. You know, if that damage gets spread around and the AoE healing of Lucio will be enough, if the shields will pop in time before a lot of those big bursty types attacks that we can be seeing from both sides. Lucio also particularly good whenever a Zarya ultimate comes out. The enemy Lucio can pop their ultimate, prevent a lot of damage that you know is right about to be coming in. Kabana opting to get a little bit of harassment forward, lobbing some grenades onto the main entrance, but quickly finds himself cut out of position, gets killed out. They may only have 5, but their spirits are strong. They are pulling out together, trying to push in from the stairwell into this building from Garland's.
Enemy turret down.
And doing a good job of coming in and out of that sightlines. Chromega trying to get some damage out onto the side, but Widowmaker snipes out from behind. Good use of damage, good use of teamwork from this BANANG team. And impressively, they are starting able to get onto the point. You know, they're doing a really good job of playing together. You know, all characters matter. They have one character caught out at a time, and that's letting, you know, sure, it's a 6v5, but if you have it so that your 6 is like 2 and 2 and 2, and, you know, you have that 5 rolling together, you know, a series of 5v2s is still going to favor the 5. So what I'm hoping to see is for all characters matter to start grouping up a little bit more, use their numbers advantages as a strength, fight as a team. You know, you have had a Lucio, switched over to the Zenyatta now. You know, that works really well against, you know, you ever hear a Zarya ultimate come out. You know, otherwise, you look at the team composition for the offense, and we've got a lot of single target. You know, Tracer really good at getting into the back line, using those pistols to deal a lot of damage to one person. The ultimate deals a little bit of AoE, but not much. You know, you have Widowmaker on the backside, dealing single target damage. Ghost Dog pops the ultimate, not quite able to get anything. You get much from it though. Jin trying to do some sniping off to the side. Looking for anyone he can. Oh, almost gets the Zenyatta. Zenyatta just bouncing around. Gets taken down by Ghost Dog. Good shooting on the Soldier 76 there. Junkrat on Kavanaugh. Trying to get some damage onto the backside. Isn't quite able to get it. Oh, and the 6th for BANANG has finally showed up. Dirty Mickey loading into the game. We'll see who he picks up and if he can get in time to help finish this map up. But even still, with just the 5, like, I'm incredibly impressed here. Playing a 5v6 is incredibly difficult. You know, you have, well, like, 15-20% less people to deal with. Or that you have, you know, 6 has 20% more of a team. 20%'s quite a bit. Fire at will, coming in, grabbing in 2 more. 3 taken down, 4 taken down as Subtractum finishing a lot of them off. Good fights there. And so this is a lot of the difference. So you'll notice, like, throughout a lot of the map, BANANG staying together. Chromega You know, you're Reinhardt. You're not a flanker. You do not need to be walking into the middle of the enemy team. Sure, you get a kill. But then you're out of position. You're not be able to provide that beautiful, beautiful rectangle for the rest of your team in those defenses. So look at this. Dirty Mickey playing the rectangle, and Ghost Dog on that soldier is able to just keep consistent threat, poking out. Vapathy caught off alone. Chromega finally coming in with the rectangle, but doesn't have people behind him. Subtract him going in from the sides. Gets to Shimada Brothers taken down. And it's just Kavanaugh trying to stop the point, trying to get a good chunk of damage down. Drops the death. Bombs don't do enough. And with 5:54 remaining on the clock, and an impressive 5v6 for most of it. I'm willing to count that. Sure, Dirty Mickey, you came in on the end. Did some good work with that Reinhardt. Looks like play of the game is going to be going over to some Tractum as Tracer. This is while that first point is taken up. Good kill onto Fire Shadow. Sees the rest of them coming out from the side. Launches the grenade. Both of them walk right into it. Taken down. Triple kill for Tracer. And looks like I'm not the only one who enjoyed that. Both teams, epic, legendary, 11 out of 12 votes. Oh, see, that's how you appreciate people. That's how you share the love. You know, one of the things that I always find fun when I'm playing with friends is our group will wait until we see someone starting to get ticked up. We're like, all right, we're gonna throw all of our force. You know, there's 4 or 5 of us. You know, we don't really necessarily care if it's us or if it's someone else. But we see someone get up, it's like, let's make their day. Let's make them happy. And so, vote gets tossed up, you just push it all in. So we do have the teams switching around. We've got all characters matter on the offense and BANANG in the backside. A little bit of playful banter coming in between teams. So both teams still figuring out the bit of the roster. Defense seems to make their decisions. So we have on defense Jin as Reaper, Dirty Mickey continuing with Reinhardt, Micah Ropey as Torbjorn, Ghost Dog as Mercy, Collide as Zarya, and Subtractum continuing with the Tracer. So we have a lot of flanking from this defensive team. And then on the offense, we have Bladesong on Reaper, Apathy on Zarya, Kabana as Farah, Matthias as McCree, Chrome as Reinhardt, and Fire Shadow as Zenyatta. So good grouping together composition from this front line. You know, Zarya, Farah, all work really well hiding behind the Reinhardt shield. I'm not as sold on the Zenyatta pick. You know, sure, you know, you can toss that orb or discard out. You can get a little bit of healing onto one person. But the Discord, since it requires everybody to be focusing, it works really well when you have characters that can do that. So maybe instead of the Reaper or McCree, you toss in a Soldier 76. Both Soldier and Far are capable of focusing targets together pretty well. But the gate is opening. We're going to see how this point does play out. We have Tracer coming into the side, looking to get a little bit of flanking out, going straight for that Zenyatta. Good aim onto him, getting a little bit of damage down as soon as the damage comes in. Oh, flashes back in time. Waits out the Zarya shield. Good reaction to getting the Farah damage from behind. And the flankers of BANANG doing a good job of making it difficult for all characters matter to push out at the gate. You know, that is basically the role of the flanker. You know, here we see Jin trying to do his job, going in for the McCree. McCree dodges out with the roll, but the heals aren't coming onto him fast enough. Slowly gets taken out, goes into the Wraith form in order to get out of threat. But we have Kavanaugh raining some damage down onto the air, finding just the rectangle though. And with that 2,000 point shield, it takes more than just a single Pharaoh raining from above. Oh, but Jin in the back line doesn't quite get close enough to take out more than one. But still, this is an impressive display. We've got, you know, most of the time the line of scrimmage for this match is in this gate, but BANANG playing a little bit of the disrespect, pushing out forward, playing out pretty aggressively. But now, all characters matter. They haven't cleared out the back line. Zarya coming in from the back. Reinhardt drops him out the ultimate, grabs 2. Comes in swinging, grabs 1, grabs 2. And still fights continuing to back out. Fire Shadow bringing some up. But then quickly dies for his teammate's sins. And slowly cleaning it up. Jhin, Reinhardt pushing into that backside. Oh, Jhin, looks like we've got a Reaper battle. Oh, and Jhin gets reaped by the Blade Song. Meanwhile, in the backline, we've got Torbjorn. You know, this is a common setup point you'll see for that turret. You know, it doesn't let the offense get easy line of sight. You know, one of the big counters that you'll see to these static defenses like Torbjorn or Bastion is a Widowmaker getting a good long sight line. That's really difficult for them to hit. Oh, we've got a ultimate coming in from Kavanaugh. Gets 1, gets 2. Jhin, though, taking out the Reinhardt on the backside. Jhin with his ultimate at 70% isn't quite able to get in. If he had had that there, getting into the back line could have been quite a bit of damage. But both Jhin subtract him. One goes in, one goes out. They switch it up, bounce it around, playing with their hearts. Subtract him in from behind, goes in. As soon as they all change their attention, back right out. You know, it's a good use of that timing there to keep that consistent threat. You know, that's one of the big roles of the flanker, is to make it so that the enemy team can't come in. Reinhardt gets 1 down, smashes into the other Reinhardt, gets him into the wall, but doesn't quite have the damage. Zarya ultimate coming out from Collide, picks up 2, but the rest of the damage is being focused onto the Reinhardt, so they're able to walk away. Matthias drops down the shield. Bladesong going in with the Zarya, giving her a little bit more charge, doing a little bit of damage, but Tracer coming in from the backside, pops the ultimate, pops 2. Fight's still starting to continue out on the backside as Apathy, as the Zarya has finally made it onto the point, and we have made it past the first tick point. So that is a little bit of that backside. Both Reinhardts ram into each other, rammed into the ground, but then Jhin coming in with that good shotgun AoE effectile damage is able to take down both of those tanks. That shotgun works really well against those large targets. Lots of body mass to hit, lots of body mass to take down. Able to do that, pick up those health, a little bit of health orbs that come in. Bladesong trying to get a little bit of damage from the side, but manages to get the Jhin, but Mercy deciding to bring him back up. A lot of fighting coming on the backside. Kavanaugh ulting in again, but this time from very high up. You know, when you're ulting from that high, you get a really wide range of spread with the rockets that are coming down. Makes it a little bit easier, you know, especially if you have, you know, a Lucio or Mercy on the enemy team. You know, you're not going to be able to break past through that tank, to break past through that healing stream. Winston ults a little bit early, tries to get onto the point, gets a little bit out of the wall. Dirty Mickey goes for the slam onto Lucio. Lucio just managing to make it out of time. Bladesong looking to come in, push towards the point. No ultimates on the offense. Winston, though, trying to go in deep, trying to get some harass down, play some Vix into the back line. Well, the rest can do some work on that. Oh! Fire Shadow taken down onto the turret. Bladesong trying to focus onto the turret, but meanwhile Tracer is just able to shoot him from behind. Red to the back means a bad day. So we have 5 seconds remaining, and it looks like BANANG is going to be holding the point. Matthias trying to get in, prevent this from being a clean sweep. Looks like we've got 3 on the point, but it is contested. And we've got Zarya ultimates coming in, but it's not going to quite be enough. Apathy, Bladesong trying to get a little bit of damage down, but in the melee range of a Reinhardt, that's a bold move, Cotton, and it does not pay out for them. So in a clean sweep, starting with the 5v6. Well, they say they had a ringer. They weren't kidding. BANANG will take this 2-0. So Dirty Mickey, that last late person, causing all those delays. Still managing to get the play of the game, though. Sees a lot of them, gets them into the ultimate, gets them in the Zarya ultimate, slamming down with those melee attacks, dealing lots of damage. Well, thank you for joining in. This has been a Studio Rumble game. This is Gabby Rainbow Pie Gibson, signing off.